The story begins as a girl named Sophia is told to step up and choose a card, which will determine the animal god whose blessings she'll receive. She starts to think about all the animals and the powers they grant, but she doesn't know which one best fits her. So she just hopes to get an animal that won't make her stand out. But when she picks her card, she's surprised to see that she drew the gorilla god. After that, a girl named Clarissa asks her which blessing she received. But everyone notes that no matter what it was, she will never be as good as Clarissa. She starts pressuring Sophia to reveal the card she picked. But everyone's distracted when a student mentions that a boy named Louise Scarl has arrived. We learn that the school teaches the students about leadership, but the boys are more interested in making connections for their future, while the girls try to find a high-ranking student to marry. Sophia knows that even though there's no written rule, there's a hierarchy depending on their family's social status. She wants to leave the school as soon as possible, but still has 2 years before she graduates. She decides to have lunch, but she accidentally crushes her apple. As we see, she's been struggling to control her strength after receiving the gorilla god's blessing. She remembers how the headmaster told her she picked a rare blessing, revealing that the gorilla god is one of the most powerful combat class blessings, and he told her to meet with him, because he needed to discuss something with her. She suddenly sees a squirrel, so she gives it her lunch and goes back to class. After school, she meets with the headmaster, who tells her she's been recruited by the Royal Knights. He gives her a letter, and notes that she needs to take an exam, telling her she'll become a junior knight if she passes. But she doesn't understand why she's been chosen. Sohei explains that it's because she got the gorilla god's blessing. She can't believe what's happening, but she knows that if she rejects the Royal Knights, her parents will be criticized, and she might even be thrown out of the country. So she accepts the offer, but asks the headmaster to keep her blessing a secret from the others. He agrees to do it, and notes that he won't tell anyone she was scouted, because the anti-monarchy faction might react violently. Sophia goes to check on the squirrel she fed, and she can't find it, but she realizes that the food is gone. She still can't believe the Royal Knights recruited her, and she knows that she won't be able to live a normal life if she joins them. So she thinks about failing the test. On the day of the junior knight exam, Sophia comes across an old man, whose carriage has lost a wheel. So she thinks about helping him, but she knows that everyone might start talking about her strength, which will make her stand out. She decides to help him anyway, and he thinks she won't be able to carry everything. But he's shocked as she easily picks up the barrels. She gets lost after she drops him off, but Louis appears beside her, and she blushes at the sight of him. He asks her if something's wrong, and she tells him she's lost, revealing that she's trying to reach the Royal Knights training ground, so he gives her directions. As she's about to go, he stops her, and helps her wipe her face, which makes her blush again. After he leaves, she goes to the training grounds, but she feels awkward since she's the only girl there. Louis also arrives, but he turns out to be the exams administrator, and he notes that their first task is to run 100 meters. A boy named Isaac volunteers to go first, because he's confident in his speed. So Louis tells him to step up. As he gives the signal, Isaac runs towards the finish line, and reaches the goal in 9.9 seconds, which amazes everyone. Sophia thinks that if someone so skilled is also taking the test, there's no way she'll pass. But when it's her turn to run, she moves so fast that she breaks through the wall behind the finish line. After that, Louis notes that their next test is to descend from the tower using a rope, but everyone's already tired, because they all had to climb up to reach the top. They all get scared seeing how high the tower is, so no one wants to go first. But a boy named Edward jumps out the window, and as he's about to reach the ground, he lets go of the rope and lands safely. Sophia sees Isaac hiding in a corner, and he admits that he's afraid of heights. She offers to go first, and promises to catch him if something happens to him, which makes him feel pathetic that a girl is worried about him. He decides to go with her, but as they start going down, his rope suddenly breaks. She manages to catch him before he hits the ground, but her rope breaks as well, so she carries him and lands on her feet. Everyone thinks she's impressive, but Louis reminds them the exam isn't finished yet, so they need to move on to the next test. He tells Sophia to come with him to the infirmary, and he treats the wounds on her hands, but he's surprised that the cuts aren't deep, considering the weight she was carrying. So he notes that she must be extremely strong, but she's still amazed by how handsome he is. He starts laughing, seeing how nervous she is, and she thanks him for helping her, but she becomes confused when he holds her hand. She asks him what he's doing, which startles him, and he apologizes for his actions. He's surprised by how she managed to carry Isaac with her hands, because after the agility test, he thought her strength was in her legs. He wonders why she's taking the test, but she can't tell him about the gorilla god's blessing, and he realizes she's uncomfortable, so he apologizes for asking such a personal question. After that, Louis takes her to the next exam, where she sees everyone fighting with swords. A blade almost hits her, and she's glad she didn't take the test, because she would have died. She becomes happy when she thinks about how she might have already failed the exam, since she was in the infirmary and didn't participate in the test, but she's also sad that she won't be able to see Louis anymore. And she tells herself it doesn't matter, because they both live in completely different worlds. After the exam, Isaac comes running towards Sofia, and he's glad to see that she isn't hurt. Louis tells him to properly thank her for saving his life, and he praises Isaac's legs, hoping they can work together in the future. As they leave, Sofia asks Isaac if he's known Louis for a while, and he reveals that when Louis was 15, he became a knight before he even received his blessing. He's the heir of a prestigious family, and he's also an amazing swordsman, but he was never cocky, which is why Isaac looks up to him. Sofia had no idea how amazing Louis is, and she wishes that she also had a goal like Isaac, so she thinks it would have been better if he had gotten the gorilla god's blessing. They see a group of men insulting Edward, because he's the son of a mistress, so they decide to help him. Isaac tells the bullies to go home if they're done with the exam, but they mention that they have business with Edward. Sofia mentions that she also has business with him, telling them she promised to walk home with him, but they just laugh at her, and they agree to leave if she can beat them. One of them grabs her, but she sends him flying, telling them to talk things out, but they run away because they're scared of her. Isaac is amazed by how strong she is, and he wonders if she's a shinobi, but she has no idea what he's talking about. Edward realizes she received the gorilla god's blessing, since she was able to carry Isaac like he weighed nothing. He adds that she ran strangely, but she was able to beat Isaac, who is the fastest person in the country. She can't believe he figured out her secret, and she sees him getting angry that he didn't get the blessing, but she doesn't understand why someone would wish for it. He realizes that she doesn't understand how amazing the gorilla god's blessing is. And Isaac is also clueless. So he tells them how a gorilla can run up to 40 kilometers an hour, has 7 times the arm strength of a human, and could easily defeat 100 men by itself. He mentions that it's one of the 2 ultimate combat class blessings in the world. So he's annoyed at how timid Sofia is acting, because she should be bragging about her strength. He thanks her for saving him, while Isaac notes that they should introduce themselves again. He tells them he has the dog god's blessing, but Edward refuses to reveal his own blessing, because others might find his weakness, telling Isaac he shouldn't tell everyone about it. Sofia asks them to keep her blessing a secret, and Edward notes that he has no reason to tell anyone who doesn't notice it themselves. They realize that they're all the same age. So Isaac wishes for all 3 of them to pass the exam, but Sofia is sad, because she knows she won't be able to see them again. The next day, Sofia is shocked to see that Isaac and Edward have transferred to her class. And as Isaac starts talking to her in front of everyone, she realizes that her school life will no longer be peaceful. After that, Sofia asks them not to tell everyone she's a junior knight. And Isaac doesn't understand why she's keeping it a secret. She knows she can't tell everyone that she's training with them, because they're both extremely popular with the girls, so she just begs them not to tell anyone. They agree to her request, which makes her relieved. They see all the girls gathering, and Sofia realizes it's because of Louis. He's surprised to see that Sofia and the others go to the same school, and he tells them he's allowed to prioritize being a knight, so he doesn't attend the school as much. He prepares to congratulate them on passing the exam, but Sofia quickly covers his mouth and pushes him into a wall. He asks her if something's wrong, so she apologizes for being rude, but he doesn't mind. He tells them they can ask him anything about the school, but she's more worried about how all the girls are staring at her. During their lunch, Clarissa asks Sofia how she knows Louis, but she explains that she just met him once. Clarissa refuses to believe her, and she wonders if Sofia also knows Isaac and Edward, but she's worried that the lunch break will be over before she gets to eat anything. So she tells them Louis is in the courtyard, and she runs away while they're distracted. She goes to the cafeteria, and she's about to have lunch, but Isaac and Edward decide to sit with her, which makes things awkward, because everyone's looking at her. Edward is annoyed because every time there's a break, people keep asking him where he's from, and Isaac notes that it's rare for them to see someone from outside the capital. All the girls start screaming as Louis arrives, but they become jealous when he also sits with Sofia. He tells them the induction ceremony will be held tomorrow, revealing that the night squad captain will give a speech, and they'll get to meet the other knights. Sofia quickly eats her food and leaves, so that everyone will stop staring at her. But Louis catches up to her and gives her a muffin, because he thought she didn't eat enough. But all the girls see them, and Clarissa tells her to explain her relationship with him. The next day, Sofia heads to the Knights training grounds, where Isaac and Edward wonder if something's wrong with her, because she looks nervous. She's still thinking about how all the girls came to her dorm to ask about Louis, so she told them they used to play together because their families know each other. Clarissa thinks that must be true, because he wouldn't waste his time with someone as unrefined as her. She thinks Clarissa is right about her, because no matter how long she stays by his side, no one will believe they're together. The Royal Knights Grandmaster Ernest Shiol congratulates everyone for passing the test, and he tells them they need to be ready to risk their lives for the kingdom. Sofia sees that everyone feels pride in being a knight, so no one will believe someone like her also managed to pass the exam. Ernest tells her to do something about her bangs, because they'll get in the way during battle, and she can't believe she already received a warning from him. At night, she tries to cut off her bangs, but she messes up completely, and she knows Isaac and Edward will worry about her if they see her hair. She tries to fix it, but she accidentally breaks the scissors since she can't control her strength. The next day, she goes to the royal capital to find a hairdresser, but she runs into Louis, who notes that he can help her find what she's looking for, because he's always patrolling the area. She mentions that she's looking for a hairdresser, so he takes her to a shop, where she's shocked to see that the stylist is bald. He tells her to remove her scarf, and he can't believe how messed up her hair is. He notes that he needs to cut her bangs like he's skinning a beast, which scares her. But Louis reveals that he used to be a member of the Royal Knights. So even though he looks scary, he's actually a nice guy. He asks her what she needs him to do with her hair, and she just tells him to make it shorter. But he knows that the school is about to have a big party. So he mentions that he'll only cut off her bangs, and keep the length as it is. She falls asleep as he starts cutting her hair. And after she wakes up, she can't believe how good it looks. He tells her she has a pretty face, so she needs to take care of herself, telling her he just put in a little effort, and made her completely unrecognizable. Louis returns to the shop to pick her up, and she asks the hairdresser how much she owes him, but he tells her Louis has already taken care of it. He notes that he should have warned her earlier about her bangs, so it's his way of making up for it. As they walk through the town, Louis is distracted by the bakery shop she saw earlier, so she asks him if he wants to try it, which makes him embarrassed. He mentions that he loves sweets, but bakery shops usually have more female customers. So when he goes in alone, he sticks out like a sore thumb. She thinks about joining him, since she wants to repay him for the haircut, but she's afraid that someone from their school will see them. Louis mentions that he would love to try the cake, but he notes that he can't go in alone, so she decides to go with him. Everyone in the shop starts looking at them, which makes Sofia nervous, but she understands why they're staring at Louis. He gives his order, and she's surprised by how much he's ordering. So he explains that he wants to try everything, since he doesn't always go there. After their order arrives, Sofia realizes that people are looking at him with a different energy, but she's just glad that he's happy. She wonders why he doesn't go there with other people, because she thinks he won't have a problem finding someone to accompany him, but he mentions that he doesn't have a girl in his life. She's surprised because he's always crowded by girls in the school, and he thinks they're just curious because he rarely goes to school. So she realizes that he has no idea how popular he is. He reveals that he also doesn't have a fiancée, and notes that he can't even think about marriage until he has achieved his goal. He asks her if she received the gorilla god's blessing, and he mentions that she doesn't need to answer it, but she confirms his suspicions. She thinks he'll start to hate her, but he believes she was chosen because she always puts other people above herself. He assures her he won't hate her just because of her blessing, but he's worried that she'll face difficulties since she's a girl. So he tells her she can rely on him. As they leave, she tells herself that she shouldn't get the wrong idea, because he's only helping her since she's his junior. After Sofia goes to her dorm, Clarissa and the other girls try to question her, but she runs away. She goes to train with Isaac, who's sad that she left him behind, so she tells him how the other girls were chasing her. He sees that Edward is exhausted, so he notes that he doesn't have an overpowered blessing like they do. After that, they go to train with muskets, and Sofia and Isaac are worried that it might go off accidentally, but Edward tells them it isn't loaded yet. One of the night squad commanders named Ark arrives, and he's excited to see what everyone's got. They start their training, and Isaac can't hit a target, but Edward is able to hit the bullseye, which impresses Ark, and he realizes that Edward is from the Fleece family, which has already produced plenty of good snipers. Sofia picks up the gun, But as she tries to shoot, she holds the gun too hard and breaks it in half. So Ark laughs at her, and calls her a gorilla. Ark notes that a few of them will join him after becoming a knight. But as he's about to fly away, he hits all the targets, and hopes all of them will be able to do that as well. After that, Isaac praises Edward for his performance, but he reveals that it's the only reason he was scouted. Isaac mentions how he's excited to see Sophia in a dress for the school party, but she doesn't have anything to wear, and she isn't interested in going to the party. Meanwhile, Ark tells Ernest about how he's interested in Sophia, and a Knights commander named Shin notes that she isn't fit to be a musketeer, but Ark refuses to let her go. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.